Guys, we got a great show tonight. We have a man tonight that's our first guest. And I'll tell you what, I had a pleasure of working with him 3 years ago in Glendale, Arizona, at the new Cardinals Stadium. And it was just, I got to hang out with my hero. I got to hang out with somebody that I seen, when I was a little kid. And somebody that I'd never figured I would ever meet, let alone be able to call a friend of mine, and that's Army Armstrong. Army, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here with you, man. How you doing tonight?
You know what, buddy? I tell you what, I am doing fantastic, man. The Lugnuts are really, really excited that you're on, and I am too. I really am. What have you been up to?
Hey, it's really an honor to be here because, I'm kind of a fan of your guys, too, and everything, and ain't it great to be an American and be able to enjoy all these different kinds of motorsports?
It is, and it's a great deal. It's a great sport, Army, and you've seen it. You've seen it from the start to right where it's at now. And I got Danny T on the other line. Danny, are you with us?
I'm listening, buddy. I'm listening. Army, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Danny. How about yourself?
Very good. Very good to talk to you.
Yeah, I tell you,
my pleasure.
It really is. It's great to have you on the show, Army. When you first started out, did you ever think that the monster truck business would come to where it is nowadays?
I really didn't, because at the time, monster trucks were just kind of an anomaly. They were just something to kind of fill in between rounds in truck and tractor pulling, to be very honest about it. But that all changed one night up in Pontiac Silverdome when a guy in a big blue Ford rolled over some cars that were out in the middle of a ramp, and it looked like somebody lit a candle in a firecracker factory, buddy. The world changed at that particular point in time. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Bob Chandler took that Bigfoot truck, and Jim Smooth Kramer rolled it over some cars, and the world has not been the same since. And I think it's been better because there's a new sport came out of it, the evolution of the technology that sport brought with it. And, I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, to be very, very honest with you. When it started, a lot of people say it's a passing fad, it'll never last. But that's been over 30 years ago, and believe me, they're still packing houses all over the country, so they got to be doing something right.
Well, it was like Ross last week. He was on from the Monster blog, and he told us there was 20 shows last weekend. And that's just 20 shows. At the time when you were doing the tractor pulls, there wasn't even, nobody ever even heard of that many numbers at one time throughout the United States. Did they, Army?
No, but see, you have to realize one thing, and this is kind of unique. It's something the monster trucks can bring to a community for family enjoyment and entertainment, is the fact that it does come in at an awkward time of the year compared to other forms of motorsports, because all these big venues at one time years ago, the only thing you used them for was the circus, for home expos, and for various things like that. Then the indoor tractor pull started by some guys in my hometown of Owensboro, Kentucky, and proved that could be done. Well, immediately following the tractor pulls indoor were the monster trucks, and the rest of it's history, like I say, because it's just going and growing. And all the other sports, motorsports you see on a weekly basis on television that are indoors, they're a result of the monster trucks kind of leading the way for them to get indoors, to get in front of that crowd. And also a unique thing about the sport is that this time of the year, the busiest time of the year, and this is really strange, in the monster truck industry, are January, February, March. I do not know why that is, but it is. It always has been since they've started their own circuits and everything, and been very, very successful those times of the year, to the point to where people are looking for them to come back. They just set their calendar up. Well, Monsters will be in town. Example, Evansville, Indiana, 2 weeks ago. Everybody knows the Monster Jam's coming back to Evansville on that particular weekend every year, so they save and then they go and enjoy it.
Right, exactly. Army, I got a Ustreamer on here that wanted to know what was your favorite era so far since you've been an announcer for the monster trucks.
I'm really lucky because I'm going to cross over on that, because I was there when it started. I was there the very first day Dennis Anderson drove that monster truck. I was there the very first win he had in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was there when everybody used to beat up on that guy. Now look where he's turned around. And that had its own personality, that era did. But then you come out now, and we did the best we could on television with that. But now the people with New Wave Productions, teamed up with Scott Douglas and those guys, just put on a phenomenal show that they can actually bring now on television what these shows are actually all about. You get live announcers like Jolo out there working the crowd. New way people can get the excitement in. Scott Douglas has got them working. So the beginning, you have to have a beginning to get things going. I was lucky to be there at that time. But the progression of the sport now has gone over into the technology and everything. What these guys are doing with the trucks now are just phenomenal. I can remember the very first time a monster truck got air. It was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. You know where that is?
Yes, I do.
The Little Britches Rodeo Arena there.
Yep.
And the driver of the truck was Pablo Huffaker. The owner of the truck was Scott Stevens, and they were experimenting with some aluminum wheels. And when he got all four off the ground, that was cool. But when he landed, collapsed all the wheels. So that shows you how far that they've come.
Yeah, those aluminum wheels didn't last very long, did they?
No, but I'll tell you what, if you had a camera that day, you got the shot of the year.
Well, Danny, do you have any questions for Army?
Well, you know what? Other than you, it's just great to have you on. And then what are you up to now, Army? What's Army doing?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm involved with a new products coming out. It's an oil additive called Thunder 2, and we're going to be releasing it during Speed Week down in Daytona. And I've been involved in different forms of motorsports, you know, doing drag racing and stuff like that myself and building motors and been hands-on. And this product has come up. I'm really, really excited about it. Of course, there's a lot of additives out there on the market, but this one seems to be able to really get the job done. But it's called Thunder 2, and you'll be hearing a lot about it starting in Speed Weeks down in Daytona. I have two adopted daughters now. I have a 10-year-old, Camille, and a 13-year-old, Haley. Haley's at hockey practice right now. And so Lynn and I have kind of started our life over again, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I get a chance to go around the country and see a lot of people. From the television side of it, I've got a television show on the RFD channel, and it's the National Championship Truck and Tractor Pull Series on the NTPA series, and it's specifically for going back to truck and tractor pulling, and I kind of enjoy that. It's kind of letting me get back to my roots on a weekly basis, and you know, motorsports is kind of unique. It's kind of like Will Rogers. A stranger's just a friend you haven't met, and once you make that friendship, I don't care what kind of motorsport you're in, the friendship stays. Have you ever noticed that before?
What's the truth?
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It has. It really does. I mean, it really does. Well, look, we haven't worked together since Cardinal Stadium, and I picked up the phone today, and I felt like, you know, it was just yesterday that we were together and felt comfortable, and you know, it's great. It really is. Well,
you know, it's really funny working with people. Especially when you get two announcers, because an announcer gets a rhythm and a feel for the show. And you and I had some karma, if you will, some yin, yang, yin, whatever you want to call it. But now the people need to know that you had me down on the floor where I was running all over that place, and you were setting up with somebody bring you cold drinks and an announcer stand. 8 stories in the air, but other than that, we were equals on that shoot.
I don't really remember it that way, but if you say so, you speak the truth, Army. I guarantee you do. I got a question here from one of our lug nuts. And he wants to know what you think of the up-and-coming drivers today, such as Bill Payne, Devin Jones, Joe Sylvester, and them, and what would they do with the old-school drivers? How would they compare to the old-school drivers as of past years?
These new guys are almost like fighter pilots compared to some of the older guys. The older guys weren't dealing with the suspension that they have now. And you see, a lot of people don't realize you can actually fly a monster truck. When you get that thing in the air and you start spinning those tires, you can actually direct the aircraft, the aircraft, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And these new drivers really, really impress me. Plus, you team these new guys up like Paul Huffaker, and you team them up with like, let's say, Gary Porter and guys like that. Believe me, they're watching them, and they're learning, and they're learning from some of the best there are out there. But back in the day, man, I'd go into an event, and Huffaker, he was crew chief for King Crunch, and Porter was driving Carolina Crusher. Mike Witt showed up with the Stomper Bully. Steve and Jeff Dane, they rolled out with the Awesome Kong. Scott Stevens, you know, was there with the King, with the Crunch. Rich Hoosier, Brash, or Jim Smooth Kramer, they rolled out with Bigfoot. Ever Jasmer, you know, the USA one. Rod Litzau and Steve Wilkie, and John Seasocks, who's still racing today, he was back there then.